Hello, my name is Tom Whalen. I'm a Senior Systems Engineer with EMC, and today I'd like to show you the new VNXe 3200 series small form factor storage system. We'll go through some high-level features and functionality, as well as we'll do a demo of the Unisphere client for the VNXe. Let's get started. So the 3200 series array completes the VNX2 platform that was released in the fall of 2013. The 3200 was released right before EMC World, and it really allows us to now have some of the functionality, the higher functionality capabilities of the VNX platform can now be translated down in the 3200 series, which is something that customers were asking us for. So at a high level, the whole idea with the VNX platform is really three principles, which is simple, efficient, and protected. And with that, we've introduced some more features and functionality that didn't exist in the VNXe platform in the past. The first thing is that from a scalability perspective, while the current system is scaled at 50 drives, our intention is to scale it to 150 drives at a later date, which gives the array a lot of longevity, kind of future-proofs it from a capacity and scaling perspective. We also introduced the capability of allowing customers to use FastCache in the VNXe platform, which is brand new, which allows us to use EFD drives as cache augmentation in the same way that we do it on our much larger VNX platforms. We also now can support all drive types within the EMC drive portfolio. We also now can support 10 gig Ethernet as the front end for iSCSI connectivity, as well as now 8 gig connectivity for fiber channel. So we can now support both fiber channel and iSCSI in a truly unified small form factor storage system. So what we wanted to achieve with this system is allow an end user to really have a simple a way of provisioning storage for potentially maybe a storage novice or somewhere where we needed to have maybe not someone who's totally storage focused, but could get into the box and do things very efficiently, is also leverage all the power within the box. So with this, we now can support both file and block, as we talked about. We also have continue our deep integrations with VMware, as well as some of the new Microsoft operating system capabilities, such as the SMB3 stack, the ODX offloading, as well as native HBA virtualization. And then we also have included the support mechanisms inside of the interface so users can remediate their support issues without having to go into different element managers to get that done. So from an efficiency perspective, we've introduced really something that's great for this box, which is the ability to both use the features within the Fast Suite, which is FastCache, as well as FastVP. So FastCache, again, allows us to use EFD drives as storage, as cache augmentation, but also now we have the ability to do mixed drive pools within the box, which allows us to do automated tiering using the same FastVP technology that we leverage today in our VNX platform, as well as our Symmetrix platform. Also, we have the ability to now do, again, file-based dedupe, which we've been able to do before, but all of these features and functionality are now wrapped around our MCX multi-core optimization code that we've introduced with the VNX2 platform. So we get much more performance and scalability from the service processors that are driving all those feature sets. From a protection perspective, we are now doing native snapshots, both file and block, which is new as well. We also have the ability to do something like a stretched cluster using a new offering, which is vPlex VE Virtual Edition. So vPlex VE Virtual Edition is essentially a iSCSI version of vPlex only, but it allows us to leverage VMware with iSCSI to really allow to create some stretched scale-out storage systems with your ESX environment. We also are going to have bundles with both the VNXe as well as data domain in our vSpecs reference architecture designs that we have. So again, embedded capabilities, connectivity around our VNXe, again, 10 gig Ethernet, as well as auto-negotiate 1 gig, and then again, 8 gig fiber channel. So quite a bit of fiber channel capability for such a small form factor storage system. And from a purchasing perspective, we have bundles that we customers can go ahead and procure, and based on the bundle that you pick, you have the capability of potentially having a single tier or even a multi-tier in those situations where fast will be leveraged to move data up and down storage tiers if that's what the customer would like to do. So we give them a number of options in order to fit the storage to whatever their particular application or use case may be. So with that, we're going to transition and take a look at the Unisphere interface up close. So as you can see here, this is the Unisphere interface for the VNXe. It looks pretty similar to our Unisphere dashboard that we see on our much larger VNX systems. The general layout is the same, and that's by design. We want to make sure that the user experience using this platform is really no different than what we see on our larger systems. We want that knowledge curve to be very shallow when it comes to operating our storage systems. In this case, the main dashboard really shows us some key areas that a typical storage administrator, even a storage administrator that may not have a lot of experience with storage in general, can be functional for them to really see what the state of the storage system looks like and give them the data that they need to help manage the array more proactively. So at the top here, you'll see system information where we have the array's model as well as its software code, the name of the array, any kind of product information, things like that. And again, a general status indicator that kind of tells us what the status of the array is. In this case, everything looks good. If we have any file systems carved up on this particular array, it'll indicate them in this panel right here. We also can see all of our storage capacity rolled up into kind of high-level categorizations of space. So we have free space, we have LUNs, we have file systems, we have storage that's provisioned specifically for VMware, and we also have capacity allocated for things like protection capabilities. This would be things like parity, snapshots, things like that. We also have a pane here that really looks at, shows us what our most common tasks are. So from a storage administrator's perspective, if you don't have a lot of time to dig in and do things kind of the manual way, we have these common task kind of wizards that are built that allow you to do things very, very quickly to get things up and running for your environment. And we also finally at the bottom here, we have a systems alerting area where we can indicate any kind of situations going on with the storage. What's interesting about this is just like Unisphere for the VNX or even Unisphere for our VMX platforms, this panel is essentially customizable. So we can click on the customize, and you'll notice that we have some areas here that we can bring into the environment, into the dashboard. So with that, I can simply drag and drop one of these panels in here, and it'll shuffle some things around. You'll see some things move based on where I want to put them. So the user really has the capability of kind of building this dashboard the way they want to build it. So we'll snap that back into place, and we'll click customize, and we're done. So what we're going to do now is walk through kind of the top level dashboard items, and then we'll go and do some kind of use case demonstrations. So let's start at systems. So in the systems area, we have the ability to look at capacity. We can check system health. We can also look at resources. We have performance monitoring as well as alert capabilities of what's going on from an alerting perspective, any kind of log generation that we do, as well as any kind of jobs that may be functioning at that time, and we can identify all these things. So we'll take a look at capacity first. So we look at capacity first, we see essentially a much larger pie chart of what we saw on the main dashboard, which is giving us our current breakdowns of storage into these high-level buckets that we've allocated: LUNs, file systems, VMware, and data protection. And it'll give you kind of the roll-up of all of those capacities. So as you hover over these particular slices in the pie, you can get the actual real numbers of what this pie shape with that particular section of capacity is how it's being used and how much of it is being used. We also have the ability now in the VNXe to actually track some of this more historically. So this gives us the ability over time to actually show some trending of capacity usage as the array is running its day-to-day life. So it gives us the idea of how things are progressing. We can develop some information around how to scale the box. If we're running out of space, we can have some predictability here by looking at this chart to historically kind of see how things are operating. So as system health, we'll take a look at system health. So system health is really where is really identifying any kind of hardware issues that might be around that we may need to remediate. And you'll notice that it shows a visual picture of what these components look like. So if we want to drill in and actually see what's going on at the service processor level, I can go in and identify a SAS port, and it puts a little green circle around it. I can also identify potentially a fiber channel port, so it'll identify which port that is. So if you're looking for a specific area of the array and you're not sure exactly what it is, you can come in here and you can actually identify it and it'll highlight it for you. We also can do this for drives as well. So if we have a disk drive that we want to take a look at, we can see where that drive is located. We can also see like where the link control cards are located on the back of the drive bay. We can see where those are located, or also a power supply. It tells us where those devices are so that there's no guessing and we know exactly where to go to remediate an issue if there happens to be one. We'll also look at system performance. So in here, performance, performance is something that our customers are always, being mindful of. They always want to be sure that they're getting the most out of their box. And in the VNXe form factor Unisphere now, we have some rich capability to look at performance, but really look at the key areas of performance. And so what we've done here is we've developed some key areas that are the most common areas where we want to look at performance, and we allow the user to basically go in and view those things. So for instance, if we look at CPU, we can look at our service processor utilization across the entire array kind of as an aggregate. We can also then look at, if we click the service processor at the bottom, we can start to break out those things. We also can see here at the bottom that we have SPA and SPB, and we have something a little bit like a heat map where we can show visually in colors kind of how the array is performing. Darker colors indicate that there's more utilization going on, and lighter colors indicate that there's less utilization going on. So it gives you both, from a statistical perspective, you have the metrics of the actual performance itself, but you also can get a visual color reference on how performance is being managed as well. We can also do these same things for LUNs. We can look at LUNs IO sizes, what our IO sizes look like. We can also go back into different days, different time capture snapshots, and look at that information. We can also do it for LUN IOPS. We can also stack these, so if you want to see LUN IOPS as well as IO sizes, those charts will stack on one another, and you can see all that information kind of rolled up all at one time. So quite a bit of performance monitoring without really having to add anything else to the box to do that. So we'll go over and look at storage. So in our storage area, it's pretty simple. We have storage file systems, we have LUNs, we also have VMware data stores, and we also have storage configuration. And we'll take a look at storage configuration first. So we have the ability to do storage pools. We also can manage sparing policies within here. And lastly, we can also then configure and modify any kind of fast cache settings that we may have. Let's take a look at the storage pools. So here in this case, we have one storage pool. It's called multi-tier. So by selecting that, it's actually highlighted already. You notice that we have a percentage used, and we also have this red line marker, and that marker will be something that we'll talk about when we look at the details of the storage pool. But it'll show you your total space, your used space, your available space, any kind of subscription rate, as well as the number of disks in that pool. So let's take a look at the details of that. So the details of this particular storage pool, again, its name is multi-tier, and that's because it actually is a multi-tiered pool. We have 5 SAS drives using RAID 5 4+1 protection, as well as 5 NL SAS drives using RAID 5 4+1 protection as well. So we have the ability to name our pools anything we want. We can put a description that can be something functional for the pool's use case. But we also have some other areas that we can look and see what the parameters of this pool look like. So we can also look at, in this case, we have utilization, where we have used space, we have snapshot use space, and available space, as well as any subscription rate and that alert threshold. Remember that red line that we saw here. The red line indicates where capacity will reach before we initiate an alert that tells the storage admin that they need to think about either expanding the pool or changing your threshold or do something to remediate that issue. So we also then have FastVP. So again, it's a multi-tier pool. So in this case, FastVP is enabled. So FastVP recognizes the performance and the capacity tiers based on the drive types that are built into the pool. So you don't have to tell FastVP what those drive types are and what tier to present them in. FastVP will essentially do that for you. So it'll also indicate in this section where the data will move to, either high performance to capacity or capacity to higher performance, based on FastVP going in and interrogating all of its data. So it'll roll all that up. It'll also identify if relocations, which is what FastVP does to move data up and down tiers, if that's active, how long it's been run, when it starts, when it stops, as well as how long it's ran. And these are configurable options that you can define in the FastVP policy as well. You can also turn this off if you need to for any reason, if you will, by simply clicking Stop Data Relocation. It'll pause FastVP from doing any future relocations until you re-enable it. So from a disk perspective, as it told us earlier, it told us that we had 5 SAS drives as well as 5 NL-SAS drives. In this case, it not only tells us, but it actually tells us the actual physical location in the drive bays themselves of where those drives are located. From a settings perspective, in this case, we're really looking at fast cache and snapshots. So to enable fast cache full pool, essentially, once you have drives allocated as fast cache drives, you can simply go in here and check the box, and that will now allow fast cache to now monitor this pool for fast cache awareness. And any data that would qualify for fast cache would be promoted to that fast cache cache augmentation tier that's built into the array. As well as inside the pool, with VNX snapshots, we have now the ability to kind of prune our snapshotting capability. So if you have snapshots that you build into the pool, you can also build in kind of thresholds, in which case you want to maybe prune back the snapshots that have been obsoleted or need to be deleted to just keep the pool in a kind of a healthy place. And you also can pause and resume those auto delete capabilities as you need to. So if there's a situation where you may want to keep or pause that policy that you've built, you can stop that and resume it at a later time. You also have a couple of capabilities on how you want to do that. You can say when total pool space reaches 95%, we're going to prune, or we can do it when the total snapshot space reaches a certain percentage. From a history perspective, we now track the ability to monitor not only the capacity from a LUNS perspective or storage array as a whole, but we also now can look at historically how the pool has been growing in space. So if you have certain use cases that are using a pool and you are noticing that that capacity is elevating, you can actually see where that is occurring and get statistical data on each day in the sampling of what that looks like. So it gives you a little bit more visibility in how people are using the pool and how your storage consumption model is being managed. So that's about how storage pools look like. And let's take a look at VMware data stores. So in VMware data stores, we'll see that we have 2 data stores served up, as well as one is connected to our NAS server via NFS, and then we have a data store that is a VMFS. So one of the things that we like to do at EMC is really show the integrations with our products and VMware. In this case, it's really easy to build a data store. You simply go in and create. We pick VMFS. We say next. We give a name, Tom's Data Store. Click next. We have our multi-tier pool, so it knows the tiering that we have built into the box. This is our only pool, so that's what we're going to use. And I'm going to set the tiering policy to be start high, then auto tier down. And you notice in here you can actually apply different tiering policies for this particular storage system. So in this case, we could do auto tier, which just means it'll throw it on in the pool, and auto tier will just kind of move the data as it needs to. Or it'll stop at the highest tier, be pinned to the highest tier only, or it'll be pinned to the lowest tier only, or in this case, we'll start at the highest tier and then work our way down as data cools off. So in this case, we'll leave that as what it is. We'll leave it at 100 gigs and we'll leave it thin. We'll say next. And now it's asking us if we want to create a snapshot schedule. So again, we talked about snapshots a little earlier. We want to go through and have the ability to build snapshots. We also want some customization of that capability as well. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at customize, and we're going to modify. So this gives you an idea how the modification of snapshots can be done for both VMware as well as other general snapshots in general. So we have the ability to do snapshots every day, a specified number of hours, number of days, on only selected days, on specific days of the month. So you can really get real granular about how you want snapshots to be managed. You can simply click on the time and as well as put in the minutes. You can also define those auto delete policy, the pruning processes, as well as you know, the amount of days you want to keep them. So if you have snapshots that you want to keep for 5 days, you can define this as a 5-day snapshot retention, and then after the 5th day snapshot, it'll start deleting the oldest one, and so on and so forth. We're going to skip out of that, and we'll leave our policies as is, and we'll just go next. And now it's asking us to define a ESX host that we can use this data store on. So in this case, we're going to go with this guy here. We're going to say we want LUN access for this host, and we're going to go next. It gives us all of our options that we've selected as kind of a final summary, and we finish, and it goes out there, and we'll start to provision it. Now what will happen at this point with the array and VMware integrations capability, the ESX environment will go out and identify that this storage has now been presented, and we'll do all the VMware items necessary in order to bring that data store up online, as well as build it into the pool architecture of the array. And as you'll notice here as well, we have Tom's data store is now defined with the protection policies, the size, as well as the type of VMware data store. So very easy. Roughly, I think that was 10 mouse clicks to get that done. And I was actually going through all of the settings as well. So 5 or 6 mouse clicks and you have a data store presented to your ESX environment from a VNXe. Pretty fast. We also can look at hosts and see how hosts are being managed. We'll look at VMware hosts. So as you see here, we have our ESX servers built up. We also can see directly into the ESX host and see the actual VMs themselves. Again, with the integrations that we have with VMware, with this particular storage system, or all VNX platforms for that matter, we had the ability to drill right through to the virtualization layer to see all of the provisioning that's been done on ESX through the particular storage system. We also have a settings area where basically we maintain all of the managerial settings of the array, policies, things like that. If we want to build, if we want to set preferences around user control, we can define roles for users. There's predefined roles for users, but you can customize that to your own needs. It also is LDAP aware, so if you want to integrate it with your LDAP for Active Directory authentication for security, you can also do that as well. And if you want to manage change network settings, iSCSI settings, make sure you have your IQNs, things like that all set up. You can do all of that work in the settings area here. The support tab at the top is interesting because we do some interesting things here. We really try to give the user the experience that they don't really need to traverse outside of the interface in order to do their day-to-day kind of operations. So we've done some things in Unisphere to really integrate our support model into the functionality of the array itself by allowing these capabilities to come through. So as you can see here, we can download, we can look at videos. There's online training available. We can look at documentation. So if the user wants to do something specific that they may not have done before, like for instance, if they wanted to create some fast cache because they got a few flash drives, documentation will help them do that. There's also a video that also shows you that. So let's take a look at how that might work. So in this case, it's the VNXe 3200 series. You can see all of the various videos about what things to do in the VNXe. So let's take a look at operating environment 3.0, configuring fast cache.
In this demonstration, you'll learn how to configure fast cache on a VNXe 3200 system.
So as you see here, the user has the ability to see the video in real time as they're actually wanting to do this. So it allows them to have the peace of mind that they can go out and do these capabilities kind of on their own, being guided essentially by an EMC support person through this video interaction. The idea is to really make things easy for the end user, to make it so that they don't have to spend a lot of time managing bits and pieces of it. Really, they want the array to do what they need it to do, and they want it to do it quickly. So things like video interactions like that allow us to do those kind of things. Just one way that we try to help our users out.
As a hot spare. The flash drive pairs can either be 2 100-gigabyte flash drives.
So we also have community resources where there's forums that users can go out. It's very collaborative. There's users that share information, share things about their experience using the box. We also have technical advisories. So if there's a technical advisory that comes out, this will be pushed actually to the array. It'll come up in a window like this, and you'll see the advisories noted here. These are just temporary advisories for the demo purpose. But you also see knowledge base numbers, and when you click on these hyperlinks, it will launch you out to an advisories area of EMC support so that you can read those advisories as well as determine if there's any remediation steps you need to follow. We can also do products, so the ability to buy things through EMC. If you want to buy an extra storage pack for expansion of the box, you can actually go right here and go online and buy those things without really having to leave the interface. So the whole idea behind this is really to make it easy for the end user to manage it, provision quickly, have some common things that they always can do, and really make their storage life not really be all about managing storage, just to do other business things that add more value. So with that, that's essentially the interface, and we'll go back and kind of close up the presentation. So the demo that I just showed you is available for download at emc.com. It's called the VNXe 3200 simulator. It's a fully functional simulator. It'll allow you to go through all of the provisioning steps and really get a good feel for how the management interface operates within the array. As you see, it's very easy to navigate. There's not a lot of drop downs. There's not a lot of button clicking for clicking options and things like that. The whole idea is to make it simple, easy to use, as well as very powerful to use when you use it in your environment. So to kind of wrap this up, is the VNXe 3200 hybrid array really is about doing things very, very quickly for the storage novice or a small remote office offering. Gives them the ability to bring storage in with a lot of capacity as well as a lot of performance and power, and do things quickly. It's also all VMware ready through the VAAI and VASA integrations, as well as leveraging our vCenter plugins that we have that are available. And it's future-proofed with Windows now embracing things like SMB3 and ODX, with virtual HBA capability, as well as leveraging some things with PowerShell. We really have embraced what Microsoft is doing and have built those features and capabilities into our product set. That's what customers are asking us for. That's what we're giving them. It's truly unified. It has both unified from iSCSI, NFS, CIFS, SMB3, as well as all the fiber channel 8 gig protocols. So you can pretty much service all your files as well as your block from this single device. Again, flash optimized. That's what the VNX platform is all about. Flash first. Now this box truly does flash the way we do it on our larger scale platforms by leveraging technologies like FastCache and FastVP to really give those storage efficiencies and that performance that end users need to really manage their workloads effectively. And last but not least, both file and block true unified snapshotting capability with this device for protection and making sure that your data is always safe and sound. So that's the presentation. I hope this was useful. My name again is Tom Whalen. I'm a Senior Systems Engineer with EMC. If you like this video, please rate it thumbs up. On YouTube, you can reach me at youtube.com/FlushingCache. You also can read my blog at FlushingCache.com, and if you like, you can tweet me at FlushingCache. Thank you very much. Have a great day.